Good night and welcome to Mindful Live 425. I'm your host Nathan Springer. Thank you for being here. Chris 868 says good night Mindful Live here on the inside. Yes, we are on the inside on the 12th of August in the year of our Lord 2024. Welcome. I am your host, your co-host on some nights, Nathan Springer. Thank you for being here. Once you're on the inside, make sure you double tap that screen over there on TikTok. That's how you hit the like button and get the algorithm pushing it out to some more people. We have some rookie numbers looking there on TikTok. Double tap that screen. You can do it over and over and over. Really get those fingers going. Work out the wrist. Make sure you don't have any of those weird carpal tunnels or whatever it might be. I'm sure it would benefit by tapping that like button. And we are streaming live also over on YouTube. You're now supposed to start back this Instagram multi-stream. Instagram, you all might see me tomorrow. Might. We got back some nice equipment to get that going. Alright, we are here chilling as we usually do. It's a brand new week. Monday. Hey, light. I don't like what you just did. Monday, a brand new week. How the week treating y'all? How you feeling on this brand new week? It feels like a brand new week. It's treating you brand new weekish. Like, hey, welcome. Enjoy this new week. Or you're coasting. We have a lot to talk about. Chris 868 says TD47 getting a ticket for working headlights. Yes, I saw that. I was mentioning that, and I'm not surprised. No driver, but front seat passenger. Yes. Tickets in the night now too. Yes, that's another thing. I remember once upon a time a police officer was telling us that they don't really attempt to do too much of those ticketing exercises in the night because it actually causes a road hazard. But I guess all of that is out of the way now. And they're doing so much as to put people on put up tickets. I think the guy's name was Devan something or something. The internet sleuths already found his name out. That officer is becoming famous with good cause. I think he should be made famous. Everyone who sees that video, spread his name wide. And that's what I constantly say about these things. I look for much more social and cultural solutions for these things. Like that officer, people in his family must look and spit on the ground when they see him. Get away. You are shunned from polite society if you act as a tax collection arm for a corrupt government. You should be shunned from polite society. Like, what are you doing? Out in the night, stealing people $1,000. Have you no shame? Yes, he is good at presenting his case. And to his credit, he had the dash cam running. Listen, I think anytime you're playing brave, and I didn't like him before, I went through a roadblock before and got a ticket thinking everything is above board. I'm cool with this. There's nothing wrong with my vehicle going through the roadblock. And then boom, shot. Ticket. That time I got the ticket for inspection. But the thing is, that was strange because I got that ticket for inspection the week after. On the news, they were saying, the transport commissioner was saying, they are just doing warnings about the inspection. They would start really enforcing the inspection in a couple. And then I get a ticket. I was like, all right, okay. I see how it goes. Revenue collection. I don't have a link for that, Dimitri. You could just go on TD47's in TikTok page, and I believe it would be the last video or one of the more popular videos in the last week or so. Nathan, I told you this before. I could now be driving out an inspection hub and see a roadblock. I'm not going through it. Dream Chaser, me too. I told you all this last week. I am dodging roadblocks like if I am carrying a brick. I am not carrying a brick. I carry no bricks. I occasionally carry bricks because I do contracting, and I carry red hollow clay blocks. vertical core or horizontal core here, or there may be a foundation block or two, but no bricks of the other stuff. But I'm dodging roadblocks like I'm guilty of something, because one, the traffic. Are you wasting my day? When I sit in that roadblock, you're wasting my day. When an hour goes by, me sitting in a roadblock, who is paying me for that hour? And if by chance, me and a couple of workers, and Mr. Shiv, if me and a couple of my workers are sitting for an hour, let's just see, hypothetically, Mr. Shiv, let's say I am a contractor and I have a vehicle filled with workers going to a job site, and a police roadblock stops me for an hour. What's that doing to the economy of the whole thing? Who is paying those guys for their wasted time? But alas, we got to stop those heavy tin vehicles and ticket people for their working two headlights. Good night, positive radiation. Big up, Mr. Where's the driver? Now listen, that's some quick thinking, eh? My boy, like, I don't know where the driver going now. And people say he looking drunk. I find homie not only looking drunk. Homie was looking both drunk and high. Just now. Yeah, homie was looking both drunk and high. I think he was knocking the fire water, and he was knocking the grass too. I think he was cross-faded. homie probably legitimately confused about where the driver is at that moment. Hello, Ronnie. I think homie may have legitimately been confused about where that, I feel like I want to play that video and have it stored on my YouTube, just for the posterity of it. Like, that is one that is going into TNT history, I can assure you. As soon as I open Instagram, another murder. I'm looking. I just want to see Mr. Spin the corner and make sure that's saved onto my YouTube. Good night, Dalip Jairam. Good night, Ronnie Fireflame says, if you watch a slow Jason's car, that's not when he lost control. He lost control, it looked like at the traffic light, basically. It looked basically like he lost control at the traffic light and he hit a post somewhere up there. And it looks like since he hit that post, he was already flung from the driver's seat into the passenger's seat, because he hit the post at an angle. So he probably already flew from the from the passenger seat to the driver's seat to the passenger's seat. And he was just getting himself comfortable as the vehicle was flying through at that point in time. Hi, host. You were eating, weren't you? Tell the people good night. You didn't say good night. Say good night.
Good night.
What's up, folks? What you doing? Tell the people laters.
Later. Happy birthday.
We're selling license again by the place. Yeah. What are they trying to get me to say and read here, boy? I'm just looking for Mr. Where's the driver? That's what I want to find now. I want the full video of Where's Mr. Driver. The guy who had no idea who the driver really was. Apparently I can't find it. Unfortunate. Wait. Is this it here? No, not it. She camera, she's a darling. Yes, she is. Ooh, she camera shy. No, she isn't really, you know. She just is about her own business. So she comes, says hi, and then goes about on her own duty. All right, let's see if we can jump into some news this evening and get started with some of these stories. The first story I'm jumping today is out of Jamaica. Jamaica. Letting us know that the gang business, I saw someone talking about them badness local, who badness global, and that kind of stuff regarding the gang warfare occurring in Trinidad that had a spillover in St. Martin recently. And now we're seeing out of Jamaica some of that same kind of stuff. Jamaica government announces all-out war against criminal gangs following murder of 8 people. Folks, it's not just Trinidad that has these things. Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness Monday said that the authorities will be using Sunday night shooting incident that left 8 people dead and several others wounded in Clarendon, south of here, to deal with the gangs once and for all. We cannot allow this incident to be treated merely as another criminal act, he said. It is not merely a criminal act. Organized crime is an act of terror, and we must treat them as criminal terrorists. The security forces have been given the directions. Operations are already underway from all levels. Intelligence from in the field. We are seeking the support of our partners to get those who are overseas, who are facilitating, directing, and funding the criminal operations here. No stone will be left unturned. I want to give the Jamaican people the reassurance that your government will use this as the opportunity to deal with the gangs once and for all, Holness told reporters following an emergency meeting of the National Security Council, adding it is indeed a sad day for all of Jamaica. Hi, Swissbun. Good evening, Dane Khan. Dalip says strong words from politicians mean nothing. Ronnie says it's always a nice thing to say, never doing anything about it still. Like a common trope I see they talk about in US politics is the strongly worded letter. Yes, lovey. Hi. The strongly worded letter. You know, the politicians have sent out a strongly worded letter that they really disagree with this thing that is happening. They sent out a strongly worded letter. That's going to get things really done. And that seems to be what is happening a bit in Jamaica there. You know, he's very serious about this. I guess we'll see what occurs in response to this. One Mr. Jack Smith says we need a 1990. Well, you go do your 1990 now, Jack Smith. You do your 1990 all on your own now, brother. Police confirmed that 8 people were killed when 3 gunmen alighted a vehicle and fired indiscriminately upon a group of people who were celebrating the birthday of a 26-year-old man. Those killed, and listen to the people who were killed in this. To me, a lot of the people who were killed sound like they weren't the intended targets. I just don't believe a lot of the people who were killed, I'm just judging plainly on the demographic here, but I don't think they were the intended targets of those gunmen. The gunmen just wanted to make a statement apparently. Just like it seems to be happening down here. There was a shooting in Powder Magazine, I believe it was, very similar to that. The shooting in her place, very similar to that. Shooting in was it in Gonzales, where they shot the young boy who was studying medicine, I believe it was, similar to that kind of idea, where it's not like they have a direct target. They came to a district where they know their opponents are, and they are here to cause pain. They don't care who the pain is caused to once it's caused in this district. That's a scary kind of warfare time to reach. It's no longer targeting the ops and specific men. It's by geography. If you are in this location and the wrong people spot you, you are dead. That's a scary thing. Those killed have been identified as 27-year-old cosmetologist Cavell Daly, 50-year-old construction worker Lawrence Francis, 20-year-old cashier Diamond Bennett, and 8-year-old Aiden Bartley, a student of Forepath Primary. In addition, Errol Stewart, a 58-year-old butcher, Jermaine Booth alias Blacks, Courtney Messam alias Dumby, and a woman identified only as Margaret were also shot and killed. I am saying this purely an assumption. I am not saying that Blacks and Dumby were in anything. But if you had to assume from the names given here, the assumption would be only the two men with the aliases may have been the kind of target that people were looking for. That could mean 6 of these people had nothing to do with anything. One was an 8-year-old boy. Obviously, he had nothing to do with anything. All murdered. Police said that a 1.5-month-old baby is among those injured. And the Commissioner of Police, speaking at a news conference, said high-powered rifles and handguns were used in the attack. Much like in Trinidad, much like what happened in St. Martin, the modus operandi of the gangs through the Caribbean seem to be very similar. Listen, I agree with the Jamaican Prime Minister in his rhetoric. I hope that he actually keeps with it. It's something that I've been actually seeing a little while now, where I think, and it could borrow some from the El Salvadoran approach. Treat these criminal gangs as terrorists, where terrorists aren't necessarily entitled to be looked at as just, people who broke the law of the country that they are citizens of. No, you are someone who basically is attempting to destroy this country. You are a terrorist. You are aiming to spread your aim through terror in this country. And maybe you should be treated as such. But do we actually have law enforcement and a leadership that is willing to do what would need to be done to treat gangs like terror organizations? So the government should be treated as the same. Masood. How are you going to treat the government as a terrorist organization? How does that work? What's the terrorism that the government perpetrates on the citizens? I really despise the overwoke people who are so woke, their mind is so open, their brains all but jump and fall out of their heads, where the government and the gang is the same thing, where you don't actually believe that. You don't actually believe that Dr. Rowley and the PNM is the same as the gangs. You don't really believe that. You say it, but you don't really believe it. Because we don't act like it. who watched the video with his mom. Which video with his mom? I saw at least 2 videos with his mom. But that crime situation obviously is seen right here too. And which interview? I don't think who did the interview. And as I regularly say nearly every time we discuss crime, it's not the poverty causing crime, it's much more the crime causing the poverty. The crime is impoverishing our nation. And the thing with these gangs, if allowed, their levels of impunity would only grow. What Jamaica is seeing there is because those gangs have been in existence for decades. So it's not like they're now up and coming gangs that are still nervous about what they're going to do. These gangs know what they're doing. They're established in their criminality, their organized criminality. Her behavior is one of the reasons people watch the beat them like that. I would say everyone in any area isn't the same way, but there are reasons that some areas are stigmatized. There are some reasons for that. Let's jump over from Jamaica to Chaguanas. There is no time you feel safe. Extortion crisis in Central leading to business shutdowns, residents fleeing. Extortion by criminals, including gang members, is causing small business shutdowns in Central Trinidad, with some people saying they are facing financial ruin, while others are fleeing the country out of fear. Appeals for more police patrols were made last week by a number of business owners in the Chaguanas, Cunupia, Londonville and environs, who said new criminals are extorting them. Businesses in these districts have renewed their calls for increased targeting of criminal and extortion gangs by the TTPS. You see what they said there? New criminals. That's the problem with this heightened gang warfare. The heightened gang warfare where you're seeing splintering of gangs, creation of new gangs, strengthening of small gangs in other areas, gangs networking across the country. That is making more mouths to feed on the gang train. Now, if there was, let's just say, I am not saying this is or was the case, but let's just say there was one main big boy in Central at one point in time, and he was the only man really who was there moving and shaking. Then, as criminal as he might be, he isn't going to extort all of the businesses. The police could have a working relationship with him. This is what I was saying last week, where I believe a part of Ronnie, I am from Central, just let that be said. Where I believe a lot of the problem in Trinidad and Tobago is the police had working relationships with the criminals, but the level of gang warfare and gang criminality that we are getting now is impossible to have a reasonable working relationship with. And this isn't to say that I am in agreement with police having relationships with criminals, but I'm saying I think, looking at our situation, that's part of the reason it is the way it is. So now the police can't stop it. The contacts that the police may have had, who was the big boy that could have put a squeeze and a slow down, no, you can't do it anymore. You don't have that control. And the corruption has allowed the criminality to fester to an insane level. Police roadblocks extorting the driving public, also lesser of both evils, my tale. Who is the lesser? And this is why the government don't treat with crime, because some elections they need these same many. Yep. That's true. That's true. During a visit to several central communities and commercial areas on Friday, the Sunday Express was told even small business owners had become targets of home invasions, break-ins, carjackings, and extortion. Small to large business owners said they were bitter and disappointed at the country's crime rate, including increased gun violence in public spaces. People who spoke did not want to be identified, saying they would be endangering themselves and their families. Business owners, employees, and members of the public in these areas said they don't feel safe at any time, as many expressed concern about criminals entering people's homes. Now, there was a response to this. I guess this could have partly been the reason they hired Mr. Scotland for the job. As election nears in the coming year, I suppose they need someone to actually look like they're doing something and being responsive as it pertains to national security. Because we couldn't just have Mr. Fitzy out there insulting people and telling the public that as Minister of National Security, he is not in charge of making you all feel safe. That's not a good winning political strategy, obviously. So they had to get someone to ease up the feeling of the nation of dashing water on Mr. Hines, to ease up that dash water feeling. Let's get some people to go out there and actually listen to what the public is saying. That seems to be what they hired Mr. Scotland for. Scotland promises crackdown on extortionists. As soon as Siobhan has raised it, Minister in the Ministry of National Security, Keith Scotland, has assured Siobhan's businessmen that extortion will be dealt with. In his address at a business mixer hosted by the Siobhan's Chamber of Industry, he said, "One of my last acts in private practice was to contact the Siobhan's police station in order for one of the police to go with one of my clients, a businessman, so he's not extorted by someone whose job it is to extort, and I find that unacceptable. I want to give you all the assurance that I have direct contact with the DCPs. I am now acquainting myself with the job, but I want you all to have the assurance that when it comes to your businesses, your families, your homes, we will do all that is within our power to make Shoguanos a safe place." Dane Khan says a PR stunt then. Well, I hope not. I hope that he is indeed a more dynamic and mobile instrument inside of the ministry, and that he is more responsive and he can carry these complaints and be a direct link between the public and the police. I really do hope so. But I hope so, but I don't have a lot of hope for so, if you understand what I mean. Fireflame says, unless Scotland used a bike as transport to come to my community, I don't hear him. I get you, Fireflame, and I may agree even. Scotland said he wants to meet with the CCIC and the Commissioner of Police within the next 3 weeks to develop a plan to make Shoguana safe, which he hopes to implement before the start of the Christmas shopping season. We will see, won't we? The CCIC president said at least 10% of the group's members have been approached for extortion money, and people who are not members have complained about extortion. Maharaj said he recently tried to get in touch with a doubles vendor who was being extorted for $75,000 and had to flee the country until he could come up with money to pay the extortionist. He said some businessmen have had to scale down operations to stay out of the limelight. Good night, sweet Douglas. Oh, Michael Singh. Good night, Sid. Yes, Ronnie. Some businesses are scaling back, pulling back their scale, and I am not surprised. I am not surprised. If if I have a business that is expanding in an overt way, some way it is expanding that is much more obvious to the onlookers, I may try to make that less obvious. I'm letting you know, I'm being honest. If whatever my business is right now is booming, I will try to make that less obvious. Make Trinidad and Tobago safe again. I will try to make that less obvious because we are living in a time like that. I remember I don't know. I didn't hear who that was yet, sweet Douglas. I didn't even hear about that. I guess when I leave here, I might go find that out. If you're a businessman and extortion is going on around you, it's going to be more important to you to not be extorted and not be in any kind of interaction with criminals than for you to increase your profits from last month. How else are you going to say TNT collapsing on itself? The allowance of gangs and the spread of that gang criminality, as we see here, we started off with a story out of Jamaica to show that point. It is not a Trinidad exclusive thing. It seems to me that the Caribbean wide is having a gang problem. That if we are not able to figure out how to deal with it, the entire Caribbean is looking at what Haiti is going through and maybe watching a future representation. Ronnie says, makes me think about migration, which I never wanted. Obviously, it will make anyone think of migration. And it should, if you're a family person, if you're someone serious about your family, of course it would make you think about migration. You see, one of the saving graces to me, to be honest, with Trinidad's criminality, is for a very long time looking at the news in Trinidad, yes, our murders have been high for the last 20 years. But for a long time, 90-something% of the murders were guys involved in the life. And if you mind your business would mind you, and their business wouldn't mind your business, and all of us are happy living our lives. But when you have it that the criminal underworld now is leaking itself onto the law-abiding citizens, onto the business community, this is something that cannot be ignored. The mixer is also addressed by security consultant Gavin Hira, former head of the National Operations Center, who said the latest extortion strategy is called Passer 5. Hira said individuals and their families are monitored by criminals who send photos to their victims and demand that they pay $5,000 or risk being harmed. People are paying $5,000 as I speak, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 being paid throughout the month. Criminals are eating a food for $5,000. Passer 5 is existing as I speak. This is not made up, he said. There's evidence and statistics. You would not hear it as often. I am here as the expert to let you know the sophistication of organized crime in this country. Here's the thing. If the case was that many of these criminals for the last 3 years, we were having incidents over and over, incidences where criminals were so lucky they were just robbing that exact auntie who left the bank 30 minutes ago with $30,000. These criminals were just hitting that lucky streak constantly when it came to people leaving the banks. Now, personally, I don't believe the criminals were lucky. If I were to hazard a guess, I would say someone on the inside of the bank was sharing that information. Now, if someone on the inside of the bank is willing to work with criminals to let them know who is withdrawing large sums of money, can't people at the bank work with criminals to let them know how much money certain people are moving around and working with? Because if you are a bank employee and a doubles man is bringing in $60,000 a month, you would know. And now, the criminality of our country has ruined the idea that banking is the safer way to deal with your money. Like, it might make more sense you buy a safe and rent a house somewhere and go and put your money in that safe in a rental house, and you and some people work together and do that, and your money might stay safer there than going in the bank. At least you know is one of your friends have to betray you here. You trust all these bank workers in this criminal country? And it seems like all these pretty nice dressed girls love a bad man on their arms. So I will not be surprised if a lot of bank girls like checking legal cash on work time and illegal cash after hours. It seems to be in the going culture of our young ladies these days. Bali says, so you have to change clothes and put on a hat in the corridor before leaving the bank now. You have to plan a whole exit strategy. You go with multiple people, pass off between 3 people, change hats, change coat, and use 3 vehicles just to move a $50 from the bank. Trinidadians are our own problems. Humans just don't care. Yes, I agree with the Trinidadians are our own problems. But here's my problem with that, SP. My problem with that Trinidadians are our own problem kind of thing is I find a lot of people who say that try to obfuscate the blame away from their favored political leaders. Because many people speak about personal responsibility when they want to not point the finger at the people who are actually societally responsible. So, yes, there are Trinidadians who are our own problem. But those Trinis were always here. And as the government, as those in authority, as law enforcement, your job is to work even with the people that don't care. Even with the people that don't care. Here's the thing. Law enforcement is supposed to be as such that you could have law enforcement in a country where all the children in the country are fatherless, all of them came out of poverty, all of them dropped out of school in standard 3, and law enforcement is still supposed to work as such that it could keep that country in order. That's the idea of law enforcement. Regardless of the circumstances of the people there, you maintain the order. If you are incapable of doing that, then say you are incapable of doing that, and let's aim for something else. Politicians have always been our problem. Well, part of our problem. It's not only Shogunas. Arima on edge as Guanapo under the gun. Murders in and around Guanapo in Arima, all within walking distance of each other, have left the community paralyzed with fear. Heavily armed gunmen are reportedly using the forested area around the community to hide, track, and ambush their victims. In July, 5 people were killed and a 4-year-old boy wounded after shootings in Guanapo. Even as official TTPS data show a significant drop in the number of murders in the Northern Division for 2024, residents of the area experience a different reality where simply walking outside their homes is a risk, as anyone, criminal or not, is a target. Arima is part of the TTBS Northern Division, which has typically been a high crime area owing to the large population density and closeness to the North, Central and Central Divisions, where the police believe criminals can slip across boundaries to escape. Responding to Guardian Media's questions via WhatsApp on Thursday, the TTPS Corporate Communications Unit said there were 4 known gangs in the area. Of these 4, police in the Gang Intelligence Unit said at least 3 gangs are operational in Guanapo. The 7 gang, the Resistance Gang, and a small clique of Muslim gangsters. The officer stated that due to the proximity of these groups, conflict was unavoidable. And of course, with that conflict, rising crime in Arima, a concern for businesses. Calls made for better police cooperation. The business community in Arima is concerned about increasing crime in the borough. So that criminality is not just a thing that hurts the regular. The Guanapo is by the dump. Guanapo is by the dump. You would say, well, that is lower class people. That is the ghetto. What are we worrying about that for? But the businesses in Arima are hurting from this. That level of violence spreads criminality. Like, think about it. If 5 murders could occur in a day in Trinidad and Tobago and the murderers escape, murder is about as bad as it gets as a crime. Which crime generally does the legal system look at as worse than murder? None. Murder is about as bad a crime as it could have. That's about as bad a crime as it could have. If you're telling me the worst crime could occur with impunity all the time, every day, then you're telling me all of the lesser crimes are, they're nothing. They're nothing. They're kids' play. If murder could go on with impunity, what is it for any other crime, really and truly? That dump road is trouble. Yep, it is. But y'all, the tint has paid off. And to be honest, this story, it nearly makes me wonder. Because of the tint in it, it could make me wonder if it's a setup story. Let's dive into Tobago. Andrea body wasn't the only body they found in the dump road. Yes, I know. Multiple bodies there. Dane Khan says the country is being desensitized to crime, especially murder. You know, Dane Khan, before I jump into the next story, as you say that, hi from Florida, Kamala might get that presidency. I'm scared, Ty 6 says. Yeah, bro, Kamala looks like it might be close. It might be close, we'll see. Yeah, the country is being desensitized to murder. You know, I blame some of that on the guy that created a program where he went about recording bodies and sticking his finger inside of bullet holes for the whole local media to consume. I think that was part of that desensitizing. I don't think that was a positive thing on the Trinidad landscape, personally, my personal view. But let's jump in to this over in Tobago here. THA worker held. Augustine, find them and jail them. Keep pressing TTPS, find them and jail them, said THA Chief Secretary Fali Augustine in response to Saturday's arrest of a THA employee. Police said around 6:13 p.m. officers of the Tobago Divisional Task Force were on mobile patrol along Joe Field Trace Lambo when they spotted a heavily tinted Mitsubishi Lancer. You see the tint? You see how the tint work? The tint. But even in this case, as I said this every time I hear this tint thing. In the case where tint is a problem, then you could make it a problem. As in this case. Like, where the tint was a problem here, what was needed here wasn't a ticket for this man. But anyway, they spotted a heavily tinted Mitsubishi Lancer seemingly trying to evade them. With suspicions raised, the police intercepted the car. When they searched the car, they found what they described as a troubling array of illegal items. Listen, I'm sorry y'all, but my conspiracy sense is tingling. I am sorry. Officers, well done. I should not be this cynical of an individual, but I don't know. I am just this cynical by nature. And my conspiracy sensor is tingling. The fact that they found a troubling array of illegal items. A Glock 9mm, 15 rounds of ammunition, 613 grams of marijuana, 97 ecstasy pills, 410 TT, 14 US, 100 EC, a pair of shortwave radios, a vacuum sealer, a ski mask, a digital scale, and 27 Digicel SIM cards. Like, it could feel like somebody empty a evidence locker in the man car. Congratulations on the bus, TTPS. This is my cynicism speaking. And I apologize. But it feels like somebody empty a miscellaneous section of an evidence locker inside the man car. Listen, let's go on. Police arrested the man on the spot. Listen to this. As he had no driver's permit and the car was not registered to him. So my boy have no driver's permit, driving an unregistered car full with contraband in Tobago, where there's heightened police attention because murders like rain going on, and he in black tint with all the windows up when they just pass a tint law. Listen. Sweet Douglas has a stolen car, but if you steal a car and you're just going to do some runs with it. If you're going to do runs with a car, your aim is for the car to look incognito. You're going to steal a car and carry it to get G6 tint? You want to get tint down and blackout? Come now, let me be reasonable. So you steal a car, want to do some transportation work for the miscellaneous section of random criminal stuff. A gun, some small weed, a whole set of pills, some random cash in different sets, shortwave radio, vacuum sealer, ski mask, scale, and a set of phone cards. Okay, you are the transporter. You going to tint down a stolen car when they just announced a tint law? Nah. Them Nathan, them youths fully dance now. Nah, I ain't believe the criminals not that dance at the same time. Them fellas doing crime years now. It sounded like the items for a GTA heist prep, yes? Facts. Collect them from all over the city. This don't make sense. I'm sorry, officers. Good work on the bust. But my skepticism is telling me something just seems very strange. Homie have no license, and he in a tint down car brings attention. Listen, if anybody in black tint now is an officer or somebody who looking to make rabs with officers. I am telling you. I know tint has been stripped. Tint been stripped. Listen, if you wanted to make a run on your miscellaneous items, they said it here. They said it here. They spotted a heavily tinted vehicle seemingly trying to evade them. If your tint was light, they would not even spot you. So this not making sense. I sorry. I don't find it making sense. It just seemed a little strange to me. To me, personally, my skepticism has risen. Because the police really needed a win in Tobago, and the police really needed a win on the tint. This gave them a win on both fronts. And the fact that the guy is a worker for the state doesn't help my suspicion. The fact that the guy is a worker for the THA, I mean, granted, nearly everybody in Tobago is a worker for it. You could pelt a stone in Tobago and chances are you're going to hit somebody that works for the THA. That's just the reality of Tobago. But the fact that he is a THA worker makes me wonder, I want to see what kind of punishment they give brother man. Did they even release his name? I now consider and I read this story and I didn't get a name. Interesting. Because they didn't find an ID card, eh? But then how they know he's a THA worker? Ronnie? How do they know he's a THA worker if he has no ID? Well, they use a funny, Ronnie. Funny. A white letter says it's so clearly transparent they give us that to hold. Listen, I don't know, but I just find something seemed like 1 + 1 = 5 inside of this mix. Maybe I'm not good at math. As I say, I'm not the math springer. So maybe I'm not too good at the mathematics. But I find the 1 + 1 in this situation giving me 5. And I'm not comfortable with the 5. Birdie Ting Doll says tricks are for kids. I don't know. As I said, Tobago police, if indeed this is a W and you all really did real good work and just got things as you should get, then big up to you all, real big up. But for me, it just seems a little strained. Alright people, I have to go find out who they find in the dirt road down in the back by me, and I have to go listen to Trump and Elon interview to see what's going on in geopolitics here. So that's all I have for now. If there are no further comments or questions on the inside, I'm gonna dive out. I hope you guys were educated, entertained, or informed. What time you come on live? I come on at 9:30. I'm trying to get it back to 9 o'clock, and sometimes it ends up at 10 o'clock, but it's 9:30. 9:30. No problem, birdie ting doll. All right. Hey, Kyle. Word up. What is the good? How truck life? You sure? Ronnie Beaver. I'll see you guys again for the next Mindful Live, which is going to be tomorrow night around about 9:30 p.m. time. Until then, people, hold it down. Stay well, stay safe, stay inside, outside is sketchy. Go out and find a family, marry somebody and make some babies and populate the world with some nice people now, man. Don't go out there and make no trouble. Stay inside. I hope you're educated, informed, or entertained. I am Nathan Springer. This has been the Mindful Live, and I'll see you guys again for the next one tomorrow night. As Mr. Trini Hotep usually says when he's on the inside, be mindful, not mindless. Ronnie? That's a good thing to be ready for. Later, people.